Good evening YouTube, and welcome to a rather special unboxing video here. Today I have got a European NEC TurboGrafx. Not just any European NEC TurboGrafx, but a brand new in-box NEC TurboGrafx, apparently. Now, I have just received this today from a seller on the internet, and it's quite an interesting find, this. So I was not aware that the TurboGrafx ever existed. I grew up in the UK, and my console of choice growing up originally was the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, and then I had a Sega Mega Drive. And about that sort of time, in Japan, there was a system called the PC Engine. Now, it never got released over here in the UK, so I'd never heard of it until a few years ago. Sorry, I say I'd never heard of it. I had seen the PC Engine in magazines listed on various mail order sites. I didn't know what it was, but I'd never seen a console in person, so I never really thought much about it. But a friend of mine who's a collector picked one up a few years ago, a Japanese PC Engine, and I was quite impressed by it. Now, I was doing a bit of reading and found out that the PC Engine was massively successful in Japan. It came out in 1987 and was huge. It competed against, at the time, I guess, the original Famicom. Now, they were both 8-bit systems, but the PC Engine had a 16-bit graphics chip, so it was able to produce much better graphics than the NES, and absolutely stormed the market there. It then went overseas to America, where they released it as the TurboGrafx 16. The 16 presumably to try and market it as a 16-bit console because of its 16-bit graphics chip, even though it was only an 8-bit CPU. But it did have graphics to rival that of the Super Nintendo and Mega Drive. Now, to my knowledge, it came out in North America in '89, I think, or '88. But at the same time, the Sega Genesis was being launched, and that absolutely trounced it, and it did very poorly in North America. Now, NEC were looking at a European release, due to come out in '89, I believe, in Europe, France and the UK. And because of the poor sales in North America, and because of trouble with developing games for the UK market, basically they didn't want to just sell Japanese games, they wanted some games converted or ported from other platforms for the European market. And this was taking time, and then the launch of the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo and various other reasons, they decided to pull the launch. So it never really got launched over here, but there were quite a number of consoles made for the European market. Now, Wikipedia has some interesting information about this. There's a few other videos on YouTube about it. But what I believe I have here is one of the European consoles that was manufactured that would have eventually gone on to be sold in either UK or France, but never actually got officially launched, and instead was just sold onto a reseller. And I don't know where it's sat since then, because that was 1989. We're now 2019, which is 30 years later. And here it is. So let's get this box open and see what we've got. Now, I have opened this box already just to see what's inside. It's a bit of a mess because it's a lot of packing material, but the first thing that's in here, it's quite interesting, is an accessories pack. So this would have originally had a cardboard outer on it. I'm not sure where that went, but the console, I believe, was produced for the European market, and then the accessories pack was produced depending on whether it was a UK or French or wherever else in Europe console. So this is the accessories pack. So we've got a manual here for the RF unit, and we've got the cardboard lid, and then the accessories in here. We have a power supply, which is 220 volt for TurboGrafx PAL. It actually says on here, AC adapter for use with NEC TurboGrafx PAL. So this is a PAL TurboGrafx console. Okay. Now this has a 2-pin European plug on it. So this was presumably have been meant for France or Spain. There is a coax cable, composite video cable. Now you can see this is all brand new. The bags are still sealed. There's a staple in it there. This one is still sealed. Power supply has a staple in it. And then this is the RF module, NEC RF unit for use with NEC TurboGrafx PAL, again it says. And then interesting. UHF VHF FM matching transformer. Not really sure what that is. It looks like some sort of grounding strap or something, but I don't know. Maybe the manual explains what we're supposed to do with that. So there's the accessories pack anyway, brand new. And then, more excitingly, oh, actually it does say on the manual here, the RF unit is intended for connecting the TurboGrafx to a TV that does not have AV terminals. Yep. If the antenna cable is a twin wire cable, first screw connect it to a 300/75 ohm converter as shown in the figure below, and then connect them and then connect the round connector side of the converter to the RF unit. Interesting. Okay, but more importantly, here is a selection of HU cards, which I ordered from the same seller. He had a bunch of these for sale. Apparently these are all new as well. Sadly there's no boxes for them, but these are all new old stock. So we've got Victory Run, Vigilante, Legendary Axe, which is apparently a very good game, JJ and Jeff, Crater Maze, and Alien Crush. Now I've not had a chance to play any of this yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it. Interestingly, they do say copyright 1989 on the card. Yeah. So we'll put those to one side, and let's get on to the main event. In here we have a brand new TurboGrafx box. Now let's just get this big cardboard polystyrene mess out of the way a moment. Okay, so here we are. Now this is absolutely pristine. I can only assume from looking at the box that it's been sat in a cardboard outer. Just taking this out of the box now. Now this is brand new. Never been opened before. Now, I say it's never been opened before. I literally did just flip this off and opened the instruction manual and then found out that my camera had run out of battery. So I've just swapped the battery and got it going again. Now this manual was unopened and I've just opened it, but I didn't catch it on camera because the battery stopped. But this is the manual here. I will pull it out again because there's some interesting points in it. Tells you what to do before you connect your TurboGrafx Super System and dive into the turbocharged action. Woohoo! Very exciting. So it talks about the expansion port cover, controllers, game soft, and it says here connecting the TV. Oh yeah. Note: AC adapter and AV cable are separately supplied with TurboGrafx unit. Hence the extra cables. Note: the connected TV should be PAL system receiver. So that is proof there that this is a European PAL system. Amazing. And this has just been sat in a box for 30 years. Okay. Connecting to the TV without AV terminals. So there's your RF adapter. Powering up, powering down, changing game cards. It's all in there. Wires and plugs, expansion port, troubleshooting, and specification. Let's get this manual back in the bag. So I believe the chap who sold this to me has multiple consoles. He's probably got a box or maybe several boxes full of these systems, which he's probably picked up from a distributor that's had them sat in a warehouse for God knows how long. It's just incredible. These have been sat for 30 years unopened. It's amazing. Right, so this is the console. This is the big deal. This is the TurboGrafx. And this isn't actually the bag doesn't have a seal on it, which is a shame because the manual one, which was sealed, missed the recording of me breaking that seal. But never mind. Let's pull this one out up here. And there is the PAL TurboGrafx system. NEC. Made in Taiwan. Amazing. Actually says on the bottom, caution, electric toy. NEC TurboGrafx PAL. Product code HES-TGX11. And we have the wonderful TurboGrafx controller. And this one is still sealed. So we'll gently try and take that off. Ew. Some kind of oily residue on there. I wonder if that come from years of being sat in a warehouse. Ooh. Looks like that's actually on the cable of the controller as well. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a slightly sticky residue on there. I wonder if there's something in the plastic that started to break down after being sat for 30 years. Amazing. Just going to get a tissue and wipe that off. Just shutting the door. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's very weird. I guess that's what happens, but proves it's not been opened. Right. guess I'm going to hook this up in a minute and play it. So I will actually remove this twist tie and give this cable a proper wipe down. Very excited. Don't know what that is. It's blue. Yeah, I wonder if there's a battery in this somewhere. Maybe it's leaked. That's what it feels like. Like battery acid or something, corrosion. I guess I have to actually open up the controller, but the thing is the liquid seemed to be on the cable rather than on the pad itself. Well, there is a bit on there. The screws all look fine, there's no corrosion on the screws. Look in the bag. Peculiar. Really not sure. We'll test it in a minute and see if it works. Wipe that off. And then we've also got a piece of card and a pack entitled Blazing Lasers, which is also apparently a very good game. And again, still sealed. You can see tape there. I don't know how well you can tell from the camera, but it's sort of browny yellow with age. So again, we are going to open this gently. I'd quite like to actually Blazing Lasers. Oh, that smells nice. Brand new. It even says on here, 1989 NEC Home Electronics. So that's just been sealed in this box for 30 years. Have you tried these other Turbo Chip game cards? Power Golf, China Warrior, Alien Crush, Dungeon Explorer and the Legendary Axe. No, I haven't, but I do have the Legendary Axe. Ooh, interesting. So this, I don't know what you call it, Turbo Chip game card, or Hue card, I've just pulled out here. It's in this plastic wallet, slightly sticky again. So I think there may be something in the plastic that they're using to package these that's breaking down. Let's just pull it out and have a look. Won't even come out, it's like stuck in there. Oh, yeah, that was actually stuck to the card. Here it comes. Minty fresh. That is, yeah, that is Blazing Lasers. Although, interestingly, this this card does say TurboGrafx 16. So I believe these are the same cards as the TurboGrafx 16 American console had. I believe you can play the US cards on this. So I'll put the card back in there and just we'll look at the console. I mean, it's a very tidy looking machine actually. For 89, that's so the Japanese PC Engine is basically that part of the console. It's square. I'm not sure why we've got all this extra plastic here. It was a redesign for the US market, TurboGrafx, because the Americans like everything bigger, obviously. And that was the design that they decided to stick with through to the European release. So yeah, thanks America. It's interesting how these things go about. But I just think it would have been amazing if this had actually come out in the UK. Whether it would have made any difference to the console market in the 80s, 90s. I mean, if they released it in 87 at the same time as the PC Engine, it definitely would have beaten Nintendo and Sega to the punch with their Mega Drive and Super Nintendo, and things would have been very different. But it wasn't to be. It was never going to get here for 87. The American market didn't get theirs until 88, or was it 89? I'm not sure. But these would have come out in 89, and by then it probably was a bit too late to beat Sega and Nintendo. But it could have still had an impact. Who knows? But alas, it was not to be. What is that? Some sort of tape? Don't know. Some sort of residue in there. Yeah, big expansion port on the back for the CD-ROM expansion. Interesting that the system had a CD-ROM expansion. I don't have one of those. I don't know anybody who's selling those new either, but it's quite a small console really when you consider the age of it. Yeah, there's AV out there, the power socket, and a single controller port on the front. So you have to buy a multi-tap if you want to play even 2-player. But yes, that is the console. That is this brand new TurboGrafx console, European PAL. So I'm now going to go and hook it up to a TV and just have a quick play. Okay, so I've got it hooked up. Apologies for the very sort of poor angle and everything, but I'm currently in the middle of doing some decorating, so my PVM has been moved into the corner of a spare room temporarily, but I want to just hook it up to test it now to show you what we've got. I also noticed I didn't show you a lot of detail of the box. So this is the box that it came in, okay? Now it's absolutely immaculate. This has just been sat in a big outer, presumably a big cardboard box with maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 of these units still stacked next to each other on a shelf somewhere, and now it's come to me. There's no date on the box, which is interesting. And there's also a spelling mistake just here in colds, which is an interesting bit of trivia. But I guess as it never got an official release, there was no point in them fixing that or doing a later revision of the box. But yeah, that's it. Notice if I shut the flaps over, the handle on the box hasn't even been pulled out. It's still flat where it's just been sat in a box for so long. So anyway, that out of the way, here it is. I've hooked it up. I'll just show you this system again. So we've got console there, power supply, AV cable, controller, and a Blazing Lasers game. So first time I've fired this up, so hopefully it'll work. I'd be amazed if it didn't, but then I guess it is a bit of a risk taking a 30-year-old piece of electronics out of a box, having never been used, and firing it up. So let's take this card out, pop it in here. I think, yeah, it's supposed to go a bit further, and flick the power on. Oh, there we go, that's fired up straight away. No title screen or anything, no NEC or anything. Straight into the game, but let's turn that volume up so you can hear it. Amazing. 1989 Hudson Soft. Now, interestingly, I've heard other people complain about this. The wire on this controller is very short. So, yeah, it's kind of like the NES or SNES Mini, I guess. Push run. Okay, oh, I'm getting a little. I mean that's good. That is really good. Good graphics for an '89 console. We had nothing like that in the home console market back then. Well, I say that. The Genesis or Sega Mega Drive as it was here in the UK. Okay, well I think that's enough of that video, of that game for a minute. I just basically wanted to show that it was working, although I didn't know that it was working until I plugged it in, but it is, which is very good. Really nice pitch as well. This is using the composite cable. Now obviously I'm playing on a PVM, which is going to give you the best picture you're going to get out of it anyway, but it'd be nice to get an RGB cable, if such a thing exists for this. But we'll turn that off. Let's just pull that out and try a couple of the other games quickly just to make sure they work. I will probably do a follow-up video in a few weeks, or possibly months, once I've finished my decorating and have a bit more space to actually get this set up properly. But let's just fire up Legendary Axe, because I'd heard that was a very good game. If I can get it out of this. Yeah, all of these little plastic wallets they're in, they've all got the same sort of stickiness to them. So they obviously don't store well. But let's pop that in. Nice that this is all just working straight off, no blowing cartridges or anything daft like that. Legendary Axe. There we go, so this is a side-scrolling sort of beat 'em up game. I gotta say, the sound on this console is not quite up to par with the graphics. Perfectly functional, but the graphics are considerably better than the sound quality. This is some sort of boss. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Don't like that. Okay. Maybe I just ignore him. Nice. Yeah, this is a nice little game. You can see me playing some of this. But like I said, I'll probably do a follow-up video to show the games a bit more at a later date. Let's just turn this off. We'll try one more. Victory Run, Vigilante, JJ and Jeff, Crater Maze, Alien Crush. That's a pinball game, I believe. Alien Crush. Again, having to peel back this plastic from the card. There we go. Alien Crush. 89 from NEC. Fast or slow, let's go on fast. Lunar Eclipse music. Yeah, there we go. Right, so what are the controls on this? Okay, that launches the board. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I can operate the... there we go, okay. Got left and right flippers. And a nudge. That's a nice little pinball game, this. A little bit like Sonic Spinball, I guess. But with an alien theme. Oh, I've lost the ball there. Do you know what? If I'd had this console in 1989, I would have been one very happy young man. I can tell you. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap it up there. Yeah, well, I mean, what else can I say? I'm absolutely blown away by this console. It's brilliant. It's such a shame that this never got released in the UK. 1989, this would have been like a wet dream for a kid. It's amazing. There's some really quality graphics and some really good games on this system. I'm going to come back and do a more in-depth look at some of the games I've got at some point. I think I'd like to spend a bit more time going through and playing them and having a look at the games, but I'm really impressed by this console. It really does a lot of good stuff for 1989. It's such a shame that it never got any action in the UK market. I can see why it was so popular in Japan. Awesome console, awesome bit of history, and I'm so glad that I've got it in my collection. So there we go. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and if you have enjoyed, please consider subscribing. Thank you.